Perfect. Hey guys, so today I'm going to try my hand at some chocolate coconut oatmeal bars. I start off with 2 cups of the oats. That's poured into our mixing bowl. Alright, so a teaspoon of baking powder is going in. This is the protein powder I use. We love the flavor. We put it in smoothies all the time. I bake with it. It's one of the best I've found that I love. And so I'm gonna go with 3 scoops of this protein powder, which is roughly about 70 grams of protein powder. The best cocoa that I found is the Ghirardelli Dutch chocolate. It has such a rich flavor. I'm gonna be scrimping on a 1/4 cup today. Hold on, we're gonna scrape it out. So it has such rich flavor. It bakes up perfectly, and if you look into cocos, you want something that has like a good fat content to it, so you don't get that like dusty cocoa flavor in your mouth. And this one, I mean, when I use it all the time, it's just been perfect. But it is certainly, but it is certainly got that rich chocolatey flavor. So if you don't like dark chocolate, like my mom, it can get rich quick. But I'm a chocolate lover, and it's the best in my opinion. Everything I make with it just hits home that smooth cocoa-y flavor. So I'm getting that cocoa mixed in, get all of our dry ingredients mixed together really good. I'm gonna go with 2 eggs, my chickens. Then we want to go with about 1/2 cup of nut butter. I'm gonna use almond butter today. You can use cashew butter, peanut butter, whatever kind of butter you like. This is what I've got right now, and I've got about 1/2 cup of finished jars, so I'm gonna use it all up. Really stuck in there. Okay. Next, we're gonna move on to, I'm gonna give it about a teaspoon of granola. Measure with your heart. And then we're gonna add in some maple syrup and some honey. All right, so for my maple syrup, first off, if you didn't know, once you open maple syrup, you're supposed to refrigerate it. I did not know this. Thankfully, I had a good homeschool mom tell me, because I'd been leaving it out on my counter and had no idea, not this bottle. But yes, once you open your maple syrup, if it's real maple syrup, it needs to go in the refrigerator, not in the pantry. Oh, I almost made a mess. Okay, so we're gonna do about 1/3 cup of maple syrup and 1/3 cup of honey. If you don't like one or the other, you don't have to split it up between the 2. I just don't want an overpowering sweet flavor of either one of them, which is why I like to kind of split it down the middle. For honey, I currently have Aunt Sue's raw and unfiltered honey. We love raw and filtered honey. I usually try and buy local. I just have it right now. This is what I have on hand. So between local families or the Amish, that's where we usually get our honey. All right, once we get that 1/3 cup in there, pop that up. And then lastly, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. All right, so I've got some organic coconut oil. This is an 1/8 of a cup, so I'm gonna get 2 scoops of this and plop it on in there. We got our 1/4 cup of coconut oil in there. That is everything for the time being that we're going to put in there, and we're going to give it a good mix before we add in our coconut flakes and our chocolate chips. The sun is finally coming out. It's been raining and humid all day. We're in December, and I keep complaining that we've had 3 actual cold days, I think, at this point this year. So that's South Texas for you. I love it. but it's hot. All right, I'm gonna get that all really well incorporated, get all of that cocoa flour, protein, cocoa powder, protein powder all mixed in there. And so this is what we're looking at right now. It's a good, it's not super thick, but it's not super runny either. All right. And so now we're gonna add in a cup of coconut flakes and some chocolate chips. And this, guys, is really measure with your heart again. If you love coconut, add more. If you hate it, don't add it. Same thing with the chocolate. I'm gonna start with this coconut. It's gonna get thick with that coconut in there. All right, and the chocolate, I'm gonna go about half a cup and save just a little bit to top it off. All right, get all of that really mixed in well. This is how we're looking. It's thick now. I mean, it's thicker than what it was before I showed you, so it's just kind of sticking to the spoon. Okay, now that our coconut batter is ready, we're gonna get our pan ready. We've got the oven set at 350. And so what I like to do with almost anything that I'm baking is parchment paper. So what I like to do is I pull it out longer than the pan by a couple of inches on both sides. I want it to come up the sides of the pan. I'm gonna rip that off. I crumble it up so it'll lay flat easier, you're not trying to roll back up on itself. I'm gonna pick up my pan and lay it right down on top of that parchment paper in the middle of it. Alright. Once I've got it squared away, I take my corners, or I go to the corner of where my pan is, and I cut to that corner and rip off this corner of the parchment. Alright, last one. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the parchment paper from the bottom now. I've got a nice little cross-shaped piece of paper. I put it in. All four of those corners fold in nicely, and then I fold the edges over the sides where it's nice and neat. Alright, and try and crease it down to where I don't have them sticking up in the way. And so just like that, I've got a nice lined piece of parchment paper. We're gonna grease it and get it filled up. Gonna give it not a heavy spray down, but make sure all four sides and the bottom are coated. And then we'll pick up our mixing bowl and just kind of spread this out evenly. It's really heavy on my hand. All right, now that I got that bowl scraped out, we're just gonna spread this around with this book. Right, and just like that, we got it nice and spread out. I'm gonna top it with a little bit more of those chocolate chips and some coconut. Not much, probably a handful, maybe a quarters cup of coconuts, and then I'll show you how much chocolate chips I've had, but I'm gonna say it's less than a quarter cup of chocolate chips. It's a good quarter cup to third cup of chocolate chips that I have left. And I'm just gonna take that spoon and kind of press that in so it cooks into it. I don't want it floating out of the top of it, falling off once it's done. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into the oven now. And it's gonna go into the oven at 350. All right, the timer on the granola bars just went off, so I'm gonna pull them out and see how it looks. I'm pretty sure they're not done. No, they're way too shiny. put them back in for probably a good 10 minutes. I think that's good. All right, so I just pulled the granola bars out. That coconut is beautifully toasted on the top. Some of those chocolate chips are still a little shiny, but overall it looks good. I'm gonna give it a good pat. It's nice and firm, not gooey. So once it cools off, they should be in the perfect shape for a good granola bar. We'll let it cool completely for about an hour before we cut it up into bars. All right, so the chocolate coconut granola bars are done. They look amazing. I'm gonna slice them up and get them ready to go in the freezer for the week. Let's see how they turned out. They have the perfect texture. I think those chocolate chips are nice and gooey and that coconut's perfectly browned on top. Let's try it. It's perfect. There's no overpowering almond butter flavor in there. That coconut comes through so perfectly chewy, and that Ghirardelli chocolate just brings it home. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you have any thoughts of what else I should make or any comments, please let me know. I'd love to hear from y'all.